Hello. So I'm going to talk a little bit about tablets, just because I remember that there's always somebody that seems to ask me the question of like, how much better does the Cintiq make you feel as an artist? Blah 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 blah. Well, okay. So I want to go through a few things. First of all, this is paper. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it's this wonderful sort of thing, and once you get used to it, it feels really good to draw on paper. You can kind of the tactileness of paper is, it's very nice. It's responsive. You feel when the pen touches the page and all kinds of lovely stuff. This is wrong. I'm just kind of roughly doodling, but paper feels really good. Okay, it's immediate. It's exactly where you touch the pen with the page. There's a perfect alignment of that. When we switch over to computer tablets, though, both the Cintiq and the Wacom, there is a distinct disconnect on both of them, and I'll explain the differences. We'll start with the Cintiq because it's the one I have easier set up right now. On the Cintiq, there is, let's try to get it from a funny angle. Where I touch the pen to the screen, I don't know if you might be able to barely see this. It actually appears slightly below the cursor, as you see there. Now, it's not actually below the cursor. It's right below the cursor, like directly below the cursor, directly on. But because there's a space, like let's say about 2 millimeters of glass, about 2 millimeters of glass between the tip of the pen and the screen, that itself creates a kind of a weird disconnect. You're not drawing directly on the LCD, you're drawing slightly above it, which is a little bit weird. You get used to it. Like I will admit that the Cintiq is nice and it feels really great. You can see exactly where you don't even have to see the mouse cursor. Like it's very faint, but there's actually a mouse cursor on the screen as the pen slightly hovers above. You probably can't see it on camera. No, you really can't. But when pen touches page, it does stuff. And sure, this feels okay, but what I kind of want to say though is the traditional Wacom tablets actually aren't really that bad, to be honest. Okay, there's no way this video is going to line up properly, so I'm just going to aim at the screen here, get to focus on the screen here. I'm going to elbow on a corner. This is going to be so awkward, but okay. And I've got a cursor on there. You might be able to faintly see, but I can draw my circle. Okay, I apologize, it's not going to be very accurate, but because I'm drawing through the lens. Blah, blah, blah. Now, in the case of a tablet like this, there's a disconnect between, where you're drawing and where it is, but the disconnect is like this distance, like it's between where my hand is on the tablet, all the way on the computer. The actual specific distance doesn't really matter once you get beyond a certain point, I think. Over here on the Cintiq, the distance is this sort of weird, you're almost touching the screen, but it's still not quite right. And then the feel of the touching the pen to the device is still a little different too. Anyways, my point. My point is, okay, I get asked the question, is the Cintiq like so much better, blah, 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 blah. I actually want to say it's not. In some senses, I do feel, okay, if I could use my other hand, that I can draw a little bit better with the Cintiq, or sorry, with the regular tablet, the regular Wacom tablet, than I can on the Cintiq. Because, well, it's just, again, it's learning to adapt to the disconnect between the two devices. On this one here, you're looking straight ahead, and in my case here, I'll zoom in a little bit, I've got a cursor. And wherever my tip on the tablet is, and as soon as I touch the pen to tip to device, it starts, recording color and such, or faint sort of shadiness. I think in a way it's a little bit easier to get used to that disconnect than it is the Cintiq one, because the Cintiq is almost like paper, almost like as you think drawing on paper, but it's so weird because it's, I don't know, I want to call it like an uncanny valley-like problem. Because it's almost like it feels worse. Because it's not right. You know, it's at that degree of similarness. Whereas a Wacom tablet like this, okay, this one here will cost you too much money, but a smaller Wacom tablet, you know, costs you a couple $100, that'll cost you $1,000, you know. And I think you can make some really great stuff with these. There's a disconnect on both. You know, this is not exactly a million times better. It's maybe just a little better. You know, if you've got the money to spend on it, if you do this enough, there's definitely benefits. But all I really want to say is that a Cintiq, or like a regular tablet, one of these is not bad. Really, it's for most indies or whatever. You know, it's all you really need. This is basically just bragging, like, look at me, I got the coolest high-end, or in this case, the low-end, high-end, fancy drawing device. That makes me a professional drawer because I got one of these. No, it doesn't. It's just an expensive toy. And you know, maybe one of these days you'll need an expensive toy to make you feel better about what you do. So savor that moment for the time that you can, you know, get what you can out of a couple $100 or $100 drawing tablet first. That's what I say. Oh, and I guess I might as well do this too. Quick little fun thing here. Here's a sketchbook on an iPad. This feels even weirder. You're drawing, in this case, I'm drawing thin lines using my the tip of my finger, and it's like the fat part of my finger. It calculates the rough center. What would I do? Oh, I got color picker. That's cool. Apparently, I've not used this program in a while. I don't know how it works anymore. But yeah, I bet you finger painting works pretty good, or probably feels pretty good. Although that didn't feel very good at all. I don't know what I'm saying here. This is weird. Okay, but anyways, main point. Buy a nice small tablet instead. Don't buy a 12 by 9. This is too freaking huge. I really like this one, this size here. This, I can't remember how big it is. It's a 12-inch. It feels really good. As far as I remember Mike complaining about the distance problem. You know, trying to draw something big, large strokes does not feel good. If you like to work small, then buy a small surface to work on. Yeah. Whatever, more art ranting. I'm gonna get some work done now. Sorry, I've had my fun. Yay, the fake artist talking about art. Yay!